Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the iconic Canton Memorial Fieldhouse. And if you haven't been here, I urge you to get here, whether it's a boys' game or a girls' game, and see all the positives that have been done here, and there's still more to come, which I always find amazing. I want to say thank you to Dave Jingo and Jen Eberly, who are heading our production crew, and it's always a pleasure to share a microphone with Kent McClelland. I appreciate you coming out. Now you're right up to speed on boys and girls basketball this year.
Well, we're trying to get there. This is an exciting McKinley girls basketball team.
Yes, and this is kind of a David versus Goliath in terms of experience, and that changes from year to year. And after a great run at GlenOak, this is a rebuilding year for Paul Wackerly, but we had a chance to visit with him. In fact, he came over and said hello to us, and he's enjoying himself because he's molding a team that's dominated by sophomores.
I know Paul a long time, Scott, and before the game, I walked over to him and said hello, and I said, geez, Al, either you're kind of in a rebuilding mode or you forgot everything you know about basketball. And of course, that's a rhetorical question. Right. I knew the answer to that, and he said that they're young, playing a bunch of sophomores. He feels encouraged about the future, but they're taking their lumps this year.
And for the McKinley Lady Pups, they come in 11-4 overall, 7-2 in the Federal League. GlenOak has won a basketball game, and that was a major milestone for them. That was last Wednesday night, 51-46 versus Louisville. But it just gives you an idea of what the situation is. I'll be curious as far as the starters, but before that happens, it's time for us to pause here momentarily for the playing and singing of our national anthem. But first, the officials. As you look at this game, this is a game that the Lady Pups need. We talked about it. It appears the girls race in the Federal League, Green and McKinley, with Jackson having an outside shot. But it's McKinley and Green that have 8 league victories. But before we get into that, I paused long enough for our national anthem. Well, I'm talking about thank yous to people. And we'll begin with the visiting GlenOak Lady Golden Eagles. And Paul Wackerly, who led both North Canton Hoover and GlenOak to state girls titles. First out, number 1, Chandler Vaughn, a junior, 15 points in that win over Louisville. 13, Kaylee Gaddison. She had 16 in that win against Louisville. Number 14, sophomore Krissa Hill. She had 9 in that win. 23, Aaliyah Unkefer, the lone senior on the team. She had a total of 7. And rounding out the 5 on the floor is number 3, junior Lena Hill. And now the Lady Pups of Canton McKinley. Number 0, Maya Taylor, averaging better than 13 points per game, season high 28. Number 1, junior Kailani Foster, averaging 9+ per game with a season high of 24. Number 2, Paris Stokes. Get this, Stark County. She is the leading scorer thanks to the publishing of the repository, 18.5 points per game. Sydney Bowden, the numbers are deceiving. She can do everything. That's the best way to describe number 5. And the 3rd senior in the starting lineup, Ariana Snell, averaging better than 8 points per game, with several times reaching double figures of 11. And of course, there is Brian Bowden. And what can you say about a man who, assistant coach and head coach of both the boys and girls varsity programs at his alma mater, Canton McKinley? He led 2 of the McKinley teams, 1990 and 92, to state Final Fours in Columbus.
Yeah, he certainly has given back. I ran into Coach Bowden at Fisher Foods in the fall of the year and asked him about his girls' team this year. And he was very optimistic after what was kind of a difficult year last year for the Lady Pups. And in his optimism, it proves to be correct at this point. So it's been a nice year.
3 seniors, a junior, and a freshman starting 5.
You know, you had alluded to kind of some of GlenOak's challenges early on here, Scott, and I presume that we're a significant favorite today, but we remain a work in progress as a basketball team. And so I'm sure Coach Bowden talked to the girls something about, this is about us. This is about working on what we need to do to make ourselves a better team. Nice out of bounds play to our left-handed.
And they get it right back.
Yes.
She couldn't make it back-to-back baskets, but you see the pressure being applied.
Lady Pups open up in a 2-2-1. It looked like zone press that created a turnover right away.
3-point goal. Rim no. Shot is up and good. Chandler Vaughn. And we are tied at 2. We've played a minute here in this game.
GlenOak opens in a 2-3 zone.
3-point shot is good. Kailani Foster.
Nice start for her. We remain in this zone press.
Of course, can they get it over before 10 seconds? Coach Wackerly, I think, thought, I'm not sure, so I'm going to take a timeout.
Alertly calls a timeout. Now, I may be fooled here because I watched our defender at mid-court follow the GlenOak player all the way up into the foul line there, and in the zone, they would stay back. So we appear to be lining up in a 2-2-1. Perhaps it's a man-to-man disguise. We'll watch how this plays out.
Or how about a combination of the two?
Perhaps.
So 5-2 the score, 6:36 to go in the opening period. 3-point goal by Kailani Foster, a bucket to begin the game by Ariana Snell, and a 2-point goal for GlenOak by junior Chandler Vaughn.
I'm sure that Coach Wackerly has worked on a press break against our press. No, that's a 2-2-1 zone. So I don't know how we followed them up there, but it seemed to work out. Yes.
Got an interesting one-on-one matchup, literally, with Foster and Vaughn, both wearing number 1s.
Yeah, so far, this press has given GlenOak a lot of problems.
Yeah, part of the learning curve for them. There's Paris Stokes.
We were told by Mr. Schott, the athletic director, that Paris Stokes is closing in on 1,000 career points, Scott, which is quite an accomplishment.
Interception by Vaughn. We've mentioned her name, and she now has 4, and it's a 1-point lead for McKinley.
Vaughn can really go with that basketball. There was no catching her once she got ahead. Some kids can dribble and run as fast as they can just run, and she looks like one of them.
And some of them are like me and can't do either.
They end up broadcasting.
Yeah, right, exactly. Still be part of it. Sophomore Carissa Hill and GlenOak on top, 6-5. Sydney Bowden for 3 off the back of the iron. And the rebound by junior Hill.
One thing is, Scott, if we don't make shots, we can't get into our press.
Yeah.
And that would suit GlenOak just fine. I don't love that 3-point shot, only because we didn't have anybody around the basket when it was taken.
Steal by Stokes.
Boy, that was a very nice ball fake by Stokes, faking the pass and laying it in herself.
I was very impressed, too, with how she kept inside the out-of-bounds line right in front of the scorer's table. Kaylee Gaddison with her first 2. So GlenOak hanging tough in the early going. Three-point goal is good. Our freshman Maya Taylor.
That's why she's allowed to shoot it when she wants. Okay. Again, GlenOak has adjusted to our pressure, and they've done a much better job the last 2 times down the floor.
Nice job by Snell knocking the ball out of bounds.
Early on, GlenOak was trying to dribble the ball through our press, and now you see them making passes over the top, and they're having some success with that.
Layla Barrett checks in, number 2. In the first meeting between the two teams, that McKinley prevailed 43-28. Barrett had 7 points in that contest.
McKinley playing man-to-man in the half court.
There you saw the McKinley defense. Nice rebound, but taken away by GlenOak. And that's a Barrett who just came into the game. Counting a foul. And that's the senior, Aliyah Unkefer.
The referee called Sydney Bowden, and instead of her hands going straight up, her hands were tilted over top of the offensive player. And of course, the offensive player is allowed from the floor to the ceiling. Good call on the referee's part.
Lady Golden Eagles back on top, 11-10 as we approach the 3.5-minute mark. Bowden, yes.
The ball comes off of her hand. Really, I love the way she shoots the ball.
So all 5 in the scorebook for McKinley. No surprise there. The lead is 1 as GlenOak has hung tough. Defense by Sydney. Good call by the officials because it bounced off the hands of the Golden Eagles player. And we have Caitlin Salmons, number 10. The sophomore parade continues.
Yeah, looking at this roster, there's plenty more where that came from.
Yes. Official right there says it's Lady Pups basketball with 2:48 to go in the opening period.
I like to see us enter the basketball to Sydney Bowden at the top of the foul lane. I think that's a good with her passing ability, good place for us to attack a zone from.
Snell.
I thought the banks closed at noon on Saturday, but
Yes.
apparently they're still open.
Well, if we were out on the playground, they'd say, well, you didn't call backboard. I used to do that like 2 generations ago. I'd say, you're lucky I drew iron, 14-11 McKinley. First foul of the game by Maya Taylor. But GlenOak, as we mentioned, have stayed in the ball game, which in turn is good to keep McKinley sharp. Nice rebound by Snell.
Yeah. Unforced error there for McKinley on top. Kalani Foster. GlenOak playing an open post offense, much like the Bulldogs do against a man-to-man. So you generally are doing that when you don't have a post player that you're looking to get the ball down to on the block. So without knowing their personnel real well, apparently that's what Coach Wackerly thinks is most appropriate. We'll trust his judgment. He's won enough games.
Yes. All right, coming up with a loose ball is Maya Taylor, and she'll take it the distance, splits 2 defenders, and she'll get 2 foul shots as a result.
Very nice aggressive play on Maya's part.
So there you see the score. We're at 1:48 to go in the opening period.
The referee, Scott, underneath the basket, I remember him because he looks like he was a center at one point in time along the way. Had our JV game up at Lake last night. So
how about
apparently
that?
there's plenty of work for the guys around here that they can get as many games as they want due to the referee shortage.
Yes. So the lead is 4 for the Lady Pups. A little more aggressive defensively.
GlenOak making the extra pass, doing a nice job, moving the ball around the top of the key.
Stokes comes up with the ball out of bounds.
Should be off of GlenOak, and McKinley's ball underneath the basket. Nice look ahead by the Pups, and almost got that pass through for a layup.
Approaching the 1-minute mark. McKinley with the ball and a 4-point advantage, 15-11. Bowden, far corner from our broadcast location. Nice move inside. And they'll call a travel.
GlenOak could switch to a 1-2-2 zone on that time down the floor.
Well, McKinley with the lead. GlenOak hanging tough. I would assume both coaches are happy to a certain extent.
I think that's fair.
Here comes Paris, weaving her way all the way. Rebound, Bowden in the putback. Sydney with 4. The lead is 6. We're inside 30 seconds. Ball is loose. Paris Stokes.
Those are the kind of mistakes that a young GlenOak team can't afford just if they're going to stay in the game here.
And all of a sudden, the lead is 8. Longest of the game. And I think that's where it's going to be. And that shot would not have counted. So McKinley 19, GlenOak 11. It was closer up until like the last minute. And McKinley on a boost there. All 5 in double figures as we caught. They made it easy on me. 3 players with 4 each. Stokes, Bowden, and Snell. And with 3 each, Taylor and Foster. You can't ask for much more balance than that.
Did we go to the bench at all that quarter?
No, we did not. And, they have a sixth woman, as I like to call her, Jayla Sparks. But she normally comes in when a player picks up a couple fouls or needs to get a breather, perhaps. GlenOak, we've got 4 for Chandler Vaughn, one of the starters, 3 for the lone senior on the team, another starter in Aaliyah Unkerfer, 2 for Chrissa Hill, 2 for Kaylee Gaddison. And when I talk about them, those are all starters. So we're getting production there. It's trying to get somebody hot off the bench.
As I look at the matchups out here, I know Sydney Bowden is only averaging about 7 points, and that's because she likes to share the ball. I don't see GlenOak having a good matchup for her out here on the floor. And so I would anticipate this is a game that she could score 16 points and really have some success on the offensive end. Let's see how that plays out.
And, of course, she also has a knack of, when she does decide to scoring in bunches. Good defense by Stokes, but a second shot for GlenOak. Good thought by their senior Unkerfer, maybe trying to knock it off a McKinley player, and it went right between the McKinley players' legs and didn't touch anything. So an A for effort.
GlenOak back in a 1-2-2. McKinley trying to kind of seeing what they're in and figuring out what kind of offense they want to get in.
And with an 8-point advantage, that gives them that
shouldn't
luxury.
Be a big hurry, right?
Right. It's still GlenOak. Knocked away by Stokes. Recovery by Vaughn.
I don't feel like we ever really did get into an offense that time down the floor. So let's see what we do here.
The lead is
I
6.
love Sydney Bowden at the high post against the 1-2-2. It's where we got the ball. Very nice inside pass. Excellent. So in that 1-2-2, Scott, the void there, so they've got a player out on the top of the key. They've got 2 players on the wing. The void is right at the foul lane, which is where Sydney operates best from.
Strong start for Snell. Make it 7 points. As I said, averaging 8. So, and the lead is 9 for the first time. We played just over a minute of the second period.
Coach Bowden still hasn't gone to the bench, so we'll kind of keep an eye on that. Apparently his starting 5 is well rested.
I know when I asked them what they would be doing over break, I think they had something like a 7, 8, 9-day break. He said, point blank, they continue to work on the physical side of it to keep in shape and maybe even get better. And we're seeing an example of it paying dividends right here.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I don't know what the situation is here.
We have a momentary
Officials timeout.
Checking into the game for the Golden Eagles, number 3, Elena Hill.
Looks like the official may have cut his hand or something out there, asking the McKinley trainer for a little help. At 22 points, Scott, in a quarter and a little over a minute to play, is certainly we're getting it done at the offensive end here.
It's interesting to look at the scoreboard and to see that Ariana, 7 next in line, or a number of players on both teams with 4. So Sydney will do the inbounds honors. Coming to meet her to get the basketball, Kailani Foster.
GlenOak is playing a triangle and 2 defense, which is probably something we haven't seen all year. That's unusual. Going man-to-man on 2 of our girls in a triangle zone with the other 3 defenders. So next time down, if they're still in it, we'll figure out which girls they're singling out.
All right. And with the turnover is Ariana Snell.
Excellent cut. Pass to the corner to Bowden, cut to the basket, and very nice.
Taylor with 5, another assist for Sydney Bowden. And the lead is in double figures for the first time, 24-13. Now Sydney at the other end with her defense forcing a turnover.
And taking it right at her. I was worried about picking up a second foul there, but she was able to avoid that. So GlenOak back to a 1-2-2. So they're just switching their defense all over the place here.
And McKinley doing a good job, as they have here in our series of home games, moving it around the perimeter. The ball is loose in this case. And smart move. They'll keep the ball because Elena Hill, junior number 3, called a timeout while she was down there with the basketball.
Yes. Elena Hill rolled over with the basketball, and I think that's technically a travel.
Okay.
If you stay on your stomach, your feet on the ground, your feet can move, and it's not a travel. But I think when you roll over, that's like shuffling your shoes.
And see, this reminds me of You Read My Mind, which is great for me, but I worry about you because I know me, But it's well, and I love this balanced scoring. I'll go back to that because it's staring me in the face here. We've got 7 for Ariana, and we've got 6 for Maya, and we got a pair of 4s for Paris and Sydney. And then we've got Kailani with 3.
Yes.
Boy, that is just great balance.
Everybody's contributing.
Yes.
So Paris Stokes is not chasing 1,000 points, is she? She's just letting the game come to her.
Well, and if it isn't to be this afternoon, we'll be back with you on Monday night. Might as well throw the plug in now. It should be an interesting game against Stowe Monroe Falls.
Yes.
2 teams with similar records.
They're a Division I program as well.
I believe so.
So it's a matchup that we could see again in the tournament then, isn't it?
And they have done that. Met once in the regular season, then a rematch. Deep 3 is getting there. Elena Hill, who we just talked about, calling for the timeout. She's on the board. Against a double team. Play on, say the officials. But Foster comes all the way back, tips the ball away. See what the call is.
Boy, Stokes really moves her feet well on defense. She can sit down and guard and works out. Just 1,000-point scorer, she works just as hard on the end of the floor.
And I think you're really seeing it this year. Each year I followed her, she's advanced in the defensive side. And as you say, now playing just every bit as well. Well, look who's back.
Miss Sparks is in the game. That'll be our first substitution.
Deja Davis, who had been hurt and sidelined, and some question about whether she'd be able to come back or not. And she has, but don't look for her on the list. I should know. Once you're on the list, you stay on the list, Scott. So, which is why I always bring a roster that I haven't created for times like this. But it's great to see her back.
We also have July Sparks in the game.
Yes, and she is taking over that 6-woman role.
Yes. Yes.
And she's not afraid to mix it up inside. Yeah, Natasia Davis, 5'7", senior. And a nice rebound by the other newcomer into the lineup, Jayla Sparks, also a senior, by the way. Oh, look at Stokes. Right by the stanchion there.
A beautiful spin move by Stokes going to the basket. I'm impressed on the other end with some coaching from Coach Wackerly. We're denying their girls these, we're what we call playing the passing lanes, trying to deny, and they are very nicely cutting back door when that's denied. They got a very good shot down there from 7 feet, and it just didn't go in. And all Coach Wackerly can do is get good shots for the girls and let the chips fall where they may there.
Harris looking for her 5th point. And the lead is 9, but GlenOak hanging tough, as we've talked about. It was a nice double team, and even though GlenOak will get it on the alternate possession, nice job defensively by Foster and by Davis.
Boy,
Foster with the steal. Sydney, they're just swarming to whoever has the ball. Davis, good hustle. An A for effort, but the ball will go to GlenOak.
Lady Pups turned over them on the press, and they made a nice decision not to force a difficult shot and set their offense.
Okay.
I'm chuckling. GlenOak rifled the ball across the court.
I did it at the scoring table.
Yes, and Coach Wackerly not thrilled with that decision.
And everybody over there is too busy, to stand up and receive the pass. Oh, here's a turnover. Ball is loose.
Referees letting this game get pretty physical there.
Elena Hill has probably gotten up close and personal with the floor here at the field house, I think for about 3 times.
Yes. Yeah.
And give her an A for effort, She's trying to do whatever she can do. This is Stokes. Oh, nice job. Oh,
excellent cut to the basket.
Yep. Foster just couldn't put it down. Steal. And to the foul line. Harris Stokes.
It's interesting. Normally, you're only pressing on made baskets, but twice we missed shots there, and our girls stayed down there and pressured the basketball, and we were rewarded with turnovers. I don't think that's a decision that was made on the bench. I think that's just the natural aggressiveness of the pup guards.
Okay, so Foster will get a breather. She sits down with 3 and back in as Paris looks for her 7th point, but back in is Maya Taylor. And I'm glad to see Paris hit a pair. It seems so easy until you go out there and try to do it yourself. Trust me, I've done it a few times, although probably not in a decade or so. But
we took Paris out, and I had thought it looked to me like she needed a break, a little rest here, and Coach Bowden picked that up. And
Taylor picks up her 2nd personal. Well, Paris leaves the game with 7, and Snell is out there with 7, so they're your leading scorers, and right behind them, Taylor with 6. Davis. And she's down. And you notice she had a wrap around her right knee. And I believe it was a knee injury that sidelined her. And I hope I'm wrong.
Taking the foul, number 10, Jayla Sparks, her first personal foul, 14 foul.
Yeah. Here she's going to continue
Yeah.
on. I felt like when she penetrated from the right wing there, two GlenOak girls moved to her, and Sydney Bowden was coming right down the lane wide open, and we just didn't see her. I think there was an easy basket there for us.
Time check approaching the 1 minute 50-second mark. Mark that. And the lead is 11 for the home team, but once again, GlenOak hanging in there within shouting distance. Once again, the passing has been crisp.
GlenOak switches to a 2-3 zone.
Sydney. 3-point shot, just a little short.
Snell doing a nice job keeping that ball alive for us down there.
Yes. Listen, one thing I'll say about both teams, forget about execution, but the effort has been there.
Yes. The game has not really been marred by many fouls. Neither team in the bonus.
Right.
The referee's letting them play on.
3-point goal, across the rim, offensive rebound by GlenOak. Another three, rim no, Sydney. Coming up with the ball, Jayla Sparks. And with the basketball, Maya Taylor.
Nice skip pass. Wide open. Very nice.
Kailani with 5. Also want to credit Sparks for kind of setting a screen so no one could get close.
Yes.
Now we've got a steal by Snell.
20 seconds to go.
Yeah.
I would think we'll execute for the last shot here.
A whistle.
As physical as the game has been, that seemed to be kind of a soft foul. But
Alexa Groves picks up the personal foul, and if you say, well, she should know better, no, she shouldn't, because she's a freshman playing varsity basketball. Clock has been reset, so we still have 12 seconds. And now we're inside 10. Good ball movement. Bowden with it. But they won't get a shot out in time. Well, our halftime score is 30-16. McKinley with 11 in that second period. GlenOak with 5. And as we take a look at the scoreboard, we've got Ariana Snell with 7. We've got Maya Taylor with 6. We have Kailani Foster with 5. We have Sydney Bowden with 5. And we have Paris Stokes with 7. So talk about balance.
Yes.
And then on the other side of the coin, here's what I've got. We have people coming in and out. Chandler Vaughn with 4. Kylie Gaddison with 4. Krissa Hill 2. Alexa Unker for 3. And here's hoping that adds up to 16. 9, 11. Not quite. Oh, because 3-point shot made by Alana Hill. So that does add up.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Scott, you gotta be a little more confident of what you're doing here.
Very good.
All right. Your thoughts on that first half?
Well, I think this probably is one about according to form.
Yeah.
Would be my thought. I don't think either coach is disappointed terribly. I think these GlenOak girls have played hard. they're scrapping. They've missed some wide open shots. I don't know how well they normally shoot the ball, but it's gone about according to form, and we'll hope for more in the second half.
So we will pause for the second half of play. The score here at the Memorial Fieldhouse. It's 30 for the home team and 16 for our guests here this afternoon, the GlenOak Golden Eagles. We'll be back. Welcome back to the second half here. In case you're just joining us on our live stream, end of one, it was 19-11. The home team, the Lady Pups of Canton McKinley, and by continuing the advantage this time by a margin of 11-5, that added together 30 for McKinley, 16 for a very young GlenOak team. And as I say, the theme to me, because you always try to accent the positive when you're talking about high school ball versus professional basketball, and where they're getting paid, so I guess you expect a lot more. But, you know, in terms of effort, both these teams have just laid it all out there.
That's one of the come to high school sporting events is that the kids are playing not for NIL money, not for a contract. Yeah. They're playing because they love the game, and it shows in how they pursue it.
And because of that new, relatively new part of college basketball, that only makes me feel even better about high school ball.
Yes,
because that just adds a whole layer of confusion. And
like if it's not professional basketball anymore, it's semi-pro, isn't it?
Yep. No confusion here, though. Kailani Foster with a steal and basket. And she's got 7. I like the balance.
I'm comforted by the fact that Kalani's going to be back next year, Scott.
Yep.
She's going to be a nice piece for Coach Bowden to work around.
Yeah, 2 of the 5 starters will be back next year, and you see them out front guarding the backcourt of GlenOak.
Maya Taylor as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
McKinley has come out in a 1-2-2 zone. GlenOak having to adjust their thinking a little bit and how they're going to approach this. I don't know that they would have game planned for this.
Kind of interesting. Now both coaches are up on their feet saying, it's like a chess match here.
Yes.
Well, they got a trap in the corner.
We've been kind of so committed to man-to-man, I don't know that GlenOak would have prepared for this one.
Mm-hmm. Well, they recovered from it.
Yes.
And this is Hill. She now has 5 points in the game.
GlenOak in a 2-3. They've been mostly zone all game, between a 1-2-2 and a 2-3.
Oh, beautiful pass from Stokes. And that'll lead to a pair of foul shots upcoming for Ariana Snell.
Should mention while we get ready for this foul shot, Scott, really a great win by Coach Vlakovic and our boys basketball team up at Lake last night.
Led from what? Start to finish, literally.
We literally led the whole way, and when we got a lead, we protected the ball, and it was something to build on.
Nice couple of foul shots for Snell. She has 9. Her season high is 11.
Looks like
well, in that game, the final score up at Lake, 53-34. McKinley, Trajan Foster 15, Reed Sims Jr. 15. I really enjoyed the balance that I talk about all the time. McClellan with 8, Moody with 7, Graham with 6.
Yeah, Lake was tied for the Federal League lead, and so that was really a nice win.
Well, Kailani's come out. She had 5 in the first half. She's got 5 here in the third quarter, early third quarter. And the lead is up to 17 as you see it on our scoreboard.
McKinley stays in that 1-2-2.
Foster with the rebound, down court to Taylor, the 2 underclass women who are part of this starting lineup. Bowden inside with the left hand.
Boy, wasn't that nice? Very soft up there, and
she has a touch.
Yes,
you know, instead of just throwing it up there or trying to use speed or.
Unusual thing, the GlenOak girl stepped in the court before she passed the ball. Number 22, Addison Ham. Ball goes to McKinley. So
Sydney comes up with a loose ball. No, but she'll go to the foul line.
Coach Wackerly would have liked to have baited that play, but it was 70 feet away, and the referee wasn't going to hear about whether he could see whether she stepped in bounds or not.
Is that what you call home court advantage?
Well,
that you get
yes.
in front of your
Yes.
coaching staff and players for the second half? Yeah, there's a little problem with the scoreboard. I heard the fan talk about it. Was not yours truly, but I'm not being critical because there's no way in heck that I could learn how to work that scoreboard.
What is the problem?
Well,
not
the
sure
fact
that,
that Sydney Bowden is in the game but is not listed
okay
among the five, so it kind of throws off. And I actually heard somebody from the upper deck.
Maybe it was Mom.
It could be, and I don't blame her. Well, the double team and the official right there saying that the GlenOak player had a foot on the line.
Coach Wackley's talking to his player there. You kind of have to see where that double team is going to come together, and when you let the sideline use that as an extra defender, you're now triple teamed in effect.
Fouls begin. We talked about in the first half, not that many fouls, and all of a sudden they're coming in bunches. Because you've got Gaddison in there, the senior, with 4 fouls.
Yes.
And 3 fouls on Barrett, one of the sophomores. And right here, I think this would be a good game for Snell.
Mariana Snell.
She has tied her
points.
season best with 11. This is good to see. Oh, that's a nice 3-point goal. Barrett, her first points of the game. You notice that Ms. Snell has a kind of a pep in her step.
Yes. Yeah, the ball went over to GlenOak, but I'm not sure what the call was. There was no signal there. So here we're dribbling into that double team again. Boy, we don't want to commit a foul there because she was going to take that ball right into the corner where she was going to be completely trapped. And we bailed her out by fouling her there.
Fortunately for Snell, just her first foul. Nobody has more than 2 for McKinley. We just mentioned that 2 of the GlenOak players in there have either 3 or 4 fouls. Hill, her first foul. Sydney says, I have the ball and I'm going to keep it.
Yeah, she put 2 hands on it, and she needed to because 2 GlenOak girls were determined to separate her from the ball. Nice offensive action there by McKinley.
Oh. Alexis Groves, freshman, coming back in. Replacing number 10, sophomore Caitlin Salmons. Or I should say Salmons.
McKinley still playing their starting 5. Excellent penetration.
Yes.
Excellent. Good shot. Paris Stokes dribbled that ball to the center of the floor. 3 GlenOak girls emerged on her. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Sydney Bowden set up the three-point line and delivered a pass right into the shot pocket.
I'm wondering why the reaction of the I believe somebody just picked up their 5th foul. Let's see.
Ariana Snell anticipating the ball to rebound long, which Coach Huggins used to tell us at Walsh that 80% of the time it does rebound long, so get to the backside. And that was one of the 8 out of 10 times. And She was there to collect the rebound. Well, I had hair when Coach Huggins told us, Scott, about rebounding the ball long.
Well, I didn't want to jinx anything, but now I can say it. Congratulations, Ariana Snell, a season-high total of 12 points. And a nice job by Snell helping up Unkefer, who was triple teamed. And Kinley comes away with it. It's the Snell. Oh.
You know, Ariana helped the GlenOak girl up, Scott. And I think our young people watch NBA basketball or WNBA basketball. I don't know about the WNBA, but in the NBA, it's kind of an unwritten rule. You don't help an opposing player up. And I disagree.
If you want to be a role model, then let's
good sportsmanship
bring that back.
Works at every level. And it doesn't help you win a game by helping them up. It doesn't show weakness. It just shows good sportsmanship. So good for Ariana.
Foul on Maya Taylor. That is her 4th foul if the scoreboard is right. Probably is, because she has to take a seat. And that'll bring back in Tasia Davis. Paris Stokes, her 2nd. Just inside the 2-minute mark. GlenOak down by 20.
McKinley flattening out that 1-2-2 zone, so it looks like a 3-2.
Good try by number 2, Layla Barrett, trying to keep the ball in bounds. And we're down to 1:20. Snell, no. Unkefer rebound.
She followed that shot very nicely. The coaches, how often do you hear a coach say, follow your shot, She did that time. Got to tie up, and I think McKinley retains the ball with the possession arrow.
Sydney to trigger it in bounds to Paris. Back to Sydney. Snell kicks it out again. Good ball movement. Sydney. We got Stokes. No, but she'll go to the line. And ironically, exactly 1 minute to go in this 3rd period.
Good ball movement that time by the McKinley offense. I like the way Snell took the ball down the lane. They converged on her, and she kicked the ball out for a wide open 3 to her teammate. That's palming. That's not a call that you see very often, is it? Have you seen a palming call this year yet?
Not many.
Yeah.
And none that come to
Yeah.
mind. So you're right.
You just don't see it very often.
Stokes. 4 in the period, 11 for the game.
He has 11. I'm impressed with the young lady not chasing points out there. She takes what the game gives her.
Yes. I'm going to give Unka for credit, the senior. She threw that shot up against a triple team. Didn't go, but didn't
Blocking
stop her.
Foul on freshman Alexis Groves. Put GlenOak limit, and it'll be a 1-on-1 for McKinley.
At the line for the Bulldogs, number 2, Paris Stokes. Checking in for McKinley, number 10, Jayla Sparks. Entering for the Golden Eagles, number 14, Hill.
So another tour duty for Jayla Sparks will give an opportunity for a breather for Sydney. I believe this third quarter is probably more physical than the first half put together.
Well,
it's funny how the game can change, and but again, the effort is there, and I'm just trying to make sure nobody gets hurt, but there's not much I can do about it from where I'm sitting. And I think the officials have done what they can do,
Yeah. Yeah, some of it is just good, aggressive Federal League play.
Snell with the rebound. Stokes with the 3. Back of the iron. Nice save again by Snell. Couldn't get the shot off, but I'll tell you, Ariana's having the game of the year between her hustle and the fact she has a season high 12.
Yeah, I think she's really played a nice game. We've had really a number of girls play good all around games today.
Well, and you start with a 3 in double figures, which is Ariana with 12, Paris with 11, with 4 points late in this quarter to get over into double digits, and 10 points for Foster, who had 5 at halftime, so she doubled that.
What do you have for Maya Taylor?
Last I looked, it was 6. I don't know if she had any third quarter points.
Okay.
That's the only trouble with people coming in and out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll assume that be the 6 there. Well, let's do a little math while you talk about your impressions of that third period. Certainly, it picked up from a physical standpoint.
Well, it did. And what did we have the score at half?
Half was 30-16.
So we were up by 14. So 47-23. The Pups pick up another 10 points to go up 24.
Yeah, 17-7.
So, yeah, this I think the game is starting to play more and more like a higher top-level Federal League team competing against the bottom-level Federal League
Well,
team.
I'm glad you gave me that moment because now all the numbers add up.
Okay.
So for McKinley, Snell with 12, Stokes with 11, Foster with 10, Bowden with 8, and Taylor with 6. That's pretty darn balanced.
Yes, excellent. Yeah, depending on how the fourth quarter goes, we could have 5 girls in double figures very easily.
And I'm sure someone will correct me, but that might be very unique, so to speak.
Yes. This may be a game where Coach Bowden can get some of the other girls in the game.
Well, that's the other part of it, yep.
That don't get to play quite as much. They're practicing every day. They're working hard, and as a coach, you want to reward them with some game time minutes. Ball's really moving well here for the Lady Pups. Excellent inside pass to Snell by Bowden. Just excellent.
Adding to her season best, 14, which incidentally leads all scorers.
McKinley in a 1-2-2 again. Another steal by Snell. Nice pass ahead to Davis. Gets a bucket. Good for her.
So she's in the scorebook. The first time in a while, coming back from injury. All right, I'll tell you, that was a nice move. Layla Barrett. She has 5. We'll look for 6 at the line. And again, what's impressive here is all these points have been scored in the second half.
Another impressive sophomore for GlenOak.
Yeah, and she had 7 in the first meeting between the teams. So making an impression both home and away against the Bulldogs.
What grade is Miss Davis in, Scott? Do you have that?
Davidson.
Davis for us.
Oh, she's a senior.
Okay.
In fact, her banner is up on behind there. Yeah. Yeah, you've got the 3 senior starters, and the other 2 have been coming off the bench periodically.
Okay.
I want to give the official here a lot of credit there. That could have gotten a little bit ugly with the ball on the floor, and he was right there.
Better off blowing the whistle quickly than
Yes.
even if nobody really has possession. If you see an injury coming up,
Yeah.
Saw a scrum developing there, didn't you?
Taylor back in with 6. So now we have the starting 5 back on the floor.
Taylor thinks she was fouled on that shot. Truth is that the referee missed a travel there.
And again, the margin is 25, but I want to tip my hat to GlenOak for continuing to compete and to the Lady Pups for keeping their composure.
Well, if Coach Wackerly sees somebody not competing out there, someone else will be on the floor in a heartbeat, I promise you. Quite a few hundred wins over the years.
To say hundreds would almost be an understatement.
Yes. Yeah.
I know it was just a couple years ago. I think it was 500. Hey, number 2, Layla Barrett. Remember that name, just a sophomore, because all of her points, which now total 8, have been in the second half. Bowden just shy of the basket at the front of the rim. And again, boy. And Coach Bowden wants to talk things over, maybe calm things down a bit. So again, the McKinley numbers. Ariana Snell, season high, 14 points. Para Stokes next in line with 11. Kailani Foster checks in with 10. Sydney Bowden with 8. And Maya Taylor with 6. So all 5 in double figures. And Tasia Davis, when she was in there, got a basket for 2. Want to mention, while we have the opportunity here, to talk about our next live stream, which will be Monday night. This will be against Stowe Monroe Falls Lady Bulldog. Talk about a coach with a record. Bob Podges, in his 24th season with Stowe Monroe Falls, he has 400-plus wins.
Wow.
And they have a record of 12-4, 8-1 in their league. My only interesting thing is that they played a Hudson team they had beat earlier in the year, and they came up short by a final score. This was this past week, 50-34. They've got 3 returning starters. When I mean returning, 2 are in their second season as starters, and the other is in her third season as a starter. They've got 3 bench players from last year back, and then they've added 5 more players potentially who can make contributions this year.
Should be a good game. I
Yeah.
don't know that the Suburban League is thought of as quite the same level as Federal League girls basketball, but nevertheless, 12-4 and 8-1 is very impressive.
And it keeps Coach Bowden's monitor about playing everybody who he can, he wants to set up meat, beef,
Yes.
a lot of it in
Yes.
his regular season schedule to prepare for the postseason.
And it's nice to play somebody different rather than a Federal League team
Right.
that you see all the time.
Well, and he's
Yes.
so impressed with their coach. He said as long as he's around here and has a say in who they're going to play this series, it goes back a few years. Mutual respect and kind of a heartbreaking story, I think, in Beacon Journal, but one of the newspapers up north about him losing his wife and all, and the community, both school-wise and the whole community.
So that was this
Rallying.
Monroe Falls. I knew the story. I didn't remember the school.
Couple
Yeah.
years ago, this took place, or maybe it's been a year and a half now. I know it's been a little over a year. Maddie Phillips into the ball game. Where's number 42? He's in the scorebook. We're approaching the 3-minute mark remaining to be played. So again, timing is back to nighttime action. We're looking at about 7:15 on Monday night. And while the NCAA, of course, over the decades have really talked about their Final Four in basketball. You got Final Four in a lot of sports, as what'll be the case in the NFL after this weekend
Yes.
coming up. But we're down to our last 4 live streams coming up.
We say this every season, right? Football season comes, and before you know it, we're in week 6 or 7.
And the older you get, the faster time
Yes,
goes.
yes.
And I've told the story before. When I was in high school, heard about that. I couldn't believe it. We used it as a debate topic. I won the debate, but I lost the war because no question. My teacher was right and I was wrong.
Time sure didn't seem to move fast in physics class in high school, though.
Well, it depends what you're.
clock just didn't
And
move.
see, by my senior year, I took every course I wanted to take: journalism and speech, and that's a surprise, Scott.
Yes.
But also history and.
Yeah,
In fact, I even worked for the school newspaper, and that's when I had a feeling this is what I wanted to do in some form or the other.
Well, when the class hour passes by quickly, it's a topic you're interested in, right?
That's right.
Snell was 16.
Yeah.
Really?
That,
Great
that
game.
might be a career high. We may have to dive deep into the records. Davis will go to the line.
I can see why Davis is banged up.
Yeah.
She goes to that.
Well,
basket
again,
hard.
who did I mention earlier in the game? It was up close and personal with the floor here. I would.
My goodness. She's not protecting her right knee, that's for sure.
She has 3 points in her return. And you know what I like about this? And this is Coach Bo. He's, his player of the game is the first one to be able to take a bow.
Yeah.
Ariana with 16. And now we have one of the freshmen, Keziah Herring, wearing number 4. Lister is a 5'11". We're down to 1:50 to go. 54-30 is the score.
Coach Bowden's still coaching, which is nice to see, Scott. Again, you're playing to get better. You're playing to beat Stowe on Monday night now, right? You're playing for that upcoming game against, is that Green that is having such a nice year in the Federal
Yeah.
League? Yeah. What a nice left-handed pass by Paris Stokes. She got the angle she needed to deliver the ball and made a beautiful pass to Kalani Foster.
With a dozen. Note to self is to find her a larger space next time because Ms. Hill has 9 points in this game.
Coach Bowden has opted not to put in other girls. I can't see our bench down there. I don't know how many other girls are there, but I am a little surprised we're not getting them a little playing time. Oof. McKinley pulling the ball out and running clock.
Yeah, like this. Well, Davis got the ball back and nailing the three-point shot. Kailani Foster, 5 in the period, 15 in the game.
Well, 27-point win for Coach Bowden and the Lady Pup, Scott.
Yeah, 59-32, the final score. And I want to mention for GlenOak, Elena Hill, who's a junior, had 9 points in the game. And the other score that comes to mind just by the numbers, and all this was done in the second half of play, 3, 4, 6, 8 points for sophomore Layla Barrett. And for the victorious Lady Pups, they improved to 12-4 overall, 8-2 in the Federal League. And they had Maya Taylor with 6, Kailani Foster with 15, Paris Stokes finishing with 11, Sydney Bowden with 8, Ariana Snell with a season high and game high total of 16, and the return of Tasia Davis, and she put 3 points up on the board. 59-32, our final score. Your final thoughts on this game?
Well, what was most pleasing to me is again, it's a game that we figured to win. But as we talked about off the jump, we're still playing to improve ourselves as a basketball team. Our season's far from over. And so I think this was a game where Snell took a big step forward, and that's going to help us. The Davis girl that came in that had been injured gave us some very good minutes tonight. We're going to need those as we go down the road. So.
And I was going to say maybe building a bench,
yes,
because it has been pretty much 6 bodies, depending upon the different circumstances and all. That might be very valuable.
We didn't see much of Jayla Sparks tonight, and I'm not sure if she's injured or I don't know that she played in the second half.
I think a lot of questions there may be answered Monday night to see what the playing time is. And speaking of that, our next broadcast Monday night, I should say live streaming, January 23rd, approximately 7:15 p.m. McKinley Lady Pups hosting the Stowe Monroe Falls Lady Bulldogs, a popular mascot.
Yes.
Throughout Northeastern Ohio. I want to say a special thank you to Dave Jingo and Jen Eberly running the show here on location. Special thanks to my longtime CCS TV partners, Bill Widener and Trent Comer, for their work on this overall project. Also thanks to McKinley Athletic Director Mike Schott, Athletic Department Secretary Lisa Owens, and the man with probably the longest title in Northeast Ohio, the Director of Sports, Athletic Partnerships, Facilities, and Phys Ed, Mr. Joe Bogdan. And, of course, the voice of the Fieldhouse, Alex Rafus. We enjoy listening to someone besides myself, to Kent McClelland, my broadcast partner on this, and also all those connected to Lucas Media on Facebook, our streaming partner. And in the words of the late, great Joe Tate, Thanks for joining us and have a good night, everybody.